Okay, so welcome back to Halloween Fest 2020. Like last year, I'm going to sprinkle some demo videos of games that I've either played, haven't played, have no intention of playing, or things that I think are interesting. Starting off with one of my favorite games of all time. This demo starts in the beginning of the game, so we get to see my favorite cutscene. Zombies, huh? Had a feeling you'd show up.
God, it's you. Look, don't sneak up on me.
Brad was attacked. I located him on the monitor. Ugh!
It's probably just a sprain.
I've gotta help Brad, or he's done for.
All right, fine. Give me your gun. Come on. I'm the reason you just got hurt. Let me help.
No, I can't let a civilian do that. That's against regulations.
Yeah, well, I don't think they had zombie-infested malls in mind when they wrote those regulations, kid.
You know how to use this?
Kinda. I've covered wars, you know.
Look, after I'm through helping you, you and I are gonna have a nice little chat.
So you can kind of see some little details there from the Xbox 360 days. This is on the 360. This is probably the demo that I have played the most. I don't think there is a single demo of any game that I've played more than this. So I got my Xbox 360 the Christmas that Dead Rising came out in 2006. I think Dead Rising came out like in the summer. I didn't get my 360 till Christmas. At friends' houses, I played this demo like maybe once or twice and was like, oh, that game seems pretty interesting. So the two demos that I downloaded were Tomb Raider Underworld, I think. It's the one where you start off. She's in like a diving suit, and you're on a boat. I played that one like once, and then obviously Dead Rising. I played the absolute shit out of this demo. Just even over the course of like a week or so, it took me like maybe just a couple days even, because it would be a couple days later. You know, I had some extra money. It was Christmas. I got to go to the mall. I picked up one thing. There was one thing that I knew I wanted more than anything else. It was this game. It was the best purchase I ever made. Because this is still, I think this is tied for my favorite game with Super Mario Galaxy. So revisiting this Xbox 360 demo was a hell of a bit of nostalgia. I think you have about 20 minutes. It's a solid 20-minute chunk to play the game. You can, obviously, the mission backup for Brad is active. But if you try and leave this plaza of the game, it's over. Here I was checking to see if I had any kind of interesting skills. It's just the rudimentary ones, the ones to avoid the zombies. You don't have like the disembowel or the football tackle or anything like that. So yeah, if you exit this plaza, that's it. Demo's over. So I guess technically you could speedrun this. You could just immediately turn back around and head into the warehouse where the zombies cutscene happened. So I'm just gonna kind of reminisce a bit, I think, whilst I play through a demo for my favorite game of all time. Also, by the way, it's weird playing this game at 30 FPS. I'm so used to the PS4 version now, running at 60. Dead Rising was probably the first game to, like, legitimately challenge me. I think I've said this before, but growing up, I didn't experiment very often with video games. The first console I ever had was a Sega Pico. That was just an edutainment system, not even worth talking about. The next one, I inherited my mom's NES and SNES, and those became Mario systems. She had Zelda games for them. I never played them. I only played Zelda on the Wind Waker. That was the first one. So, N64, GameCube, SNES, basically just Nintendo systems. I never had a PS1 growing up. I had a PS2 very late into the life cycle there. So when I got a 360 for Christmas, that was when I really started to kind of branch out and go, you know what, I'm going to start playing games outside of my comfort zone. You know, I knew Capcom, I knew the Resident Evil games. So Dead Rising was the first game that outside of my wheelhouse was difficult, challenged me. I think it was the first, like, legitimately good video game story outside of, like, Metal Gear that I had played that really gripped me. Frank was the first, like, non-Mario character to really be like, I love this guy. I sucked so bad at Dead Rising the first time I played it. I somehow made it to Larry, who's the chef, the butcher. I crawled my way up there through thick and thin, got to Larry, legitimately could not beat him. It took me so long to beat him, the timer ran out, or was, like, about to run out. And after Larry, you have to run back to Isabella. I never could make it back to Isabella because the timer kept running out. So that was, like, the first time that a game really, truly defeated me. And after that, you know, you have to restart the whole game, basically, over again from the very beginning. So I had to crawl my way back up. I had never had any kind of an experience like that in gaming, and each time that you fail in this game, you learn new things. You know, your life, or level, I guess, stays with you through each little playthrough. Also, here's such a great little detail. This game is basically a tech demo for all intents and purposes. When you look at the CD cases that Frank is holding, each time he throws one, the stack goes down, and you'll see them cycle through different covers for the CDs. This game is just so good. Yeah, nothing I don't think scared me more than the cultists, the True Eye cult. They were like the scariest video game enemies, because if they catch you, they strip you of everything that you've got, your clothes, your weapons, everything, and you have to break out of their, like, lair. You have to kill a bunch of them to get out, and I didn't have the skill to do that, so it was basically a game over. If I got to them, I'd have to reload my latest save. The bosses were hard. I think the first time through, I avoided all of the optional bosses. I didn't go for any of them because I couldn't beat them. The photography thing is just such a unique little gameplay mechanic. I still don't think a game experience has captured me quite as much as the original, very, very original Dead Rising. Each of the games in the series, you know, unfortunately there are only 3 games in the series, they never made a 4th one, has a different way that it captured me, but none quite as well as this one. It is, in my opinion, a perfect game. I was really trying to think about, like, if I was to remaster this game, but not remake it, remaster it like they did on the PS4.
Fantastic.
And just get, like, to tweak a few things. I was trying to think, like, I wouldn't really improve the graphics. I think it still looks good. There's not really many animations I would change. the one thing I think I would change, and it's really the only complaint that I can think of, is just the survivor AI. There's really not much else other than that. This is a nearly perfect game, again, in my opinion. And especially when you compare this to something like Dead Rising 4, it's, I mean, a hypothetical game called Dead Rising 4 that, you know, will never come out because that doesn't exist. Even the way that you, like the golf club in this game, you shoot golf balls at the enemies. I think in Dead Rising 4, you just attack them with a golf club. Same thing with like a hockey stick. And it's just not the same. It sucks. There's a bowling ball weapon in Dead Rising 4 that you use as a melee weapon. You hold it and you attack the enemies with them. In this game, when you get a bowling ball, which I will show, I think maybe even next. Yeah, I will do that, but I'm gonna miss here. You can use it as a melee, but what's more fun is to use it like, hey, as a bowling ball. You throw it at enemies, and you can knock a whole bunch of them down. It's not gonna kill them, but it will, you know, it's gonna knock them down at least. So there's just so much to do in this game. I still love it dearly. Frank West, I think, is still my all-time favorite video game character of all time. A little while ago, I think Did You Know Gaming did like a documentary on like behind the scenes at Capcom Vancouver as to like they were working on a Dead Rising 5, and I've thought a lot about what I would do for Dead Rising 5, and it was surprisingly similar to what they were working on before they got shut down. So I just want to go ahead and say, here is what I would do for a hypothetical Dead Rising 5 that will probably never happen, or if it does, it should be handled by the Japanese devs. So, ignore Dead Rising 4, just straight up. The story went nowhere. It ruined a bunch of things. This isn't just me being salty. You could literally ignore that game. It didn't happen. Call this game something else. Dead Rising Endgame. I think I've said a couple times is what you call it. It takes place in Central America. It takes place in Santa Cabeza. Maybe there's been some sort of like Western like land development thing going on here. There's like a resort there now, or some sort of gentrified town. You start the game either as Carlito or Isabella as kids or teenagers. You see Santa Cabeza get overrun by zombies. You see your loved ones die. You know, you cut forward however many years in the present day of Dead Rising. 3 playable characters. You can switch to any of them at any time. It's really just your preference, like Grand Theft Auto 5. Frank, Nick, and Chuck. Those are the 3 main characters. Maybe even, you know, Annie can be a playable character. Each of them has a different thing that they can do. Frank is the best with skill moves and just dealing with zombies like hand-to-hand, kind of just normal weapons, but he can use other stuff. Chuck is the best with combo weapons, and Nick is the best with combo vehicles, so that they each play to their strengths of their own games. The story is about Isabella as the villain, which Dead Rising 3 set up and was completely dropped in Dead Rising 4. They just pretended that never happened. Obviously, TJ Rotolo gotta come back as Frank. All the other actors can return. Just for fun, Isabella's got a new voice actress. She's had a new voice actress in each game. For me, that would be funny. Make it more in line with the first game. It's more of a mystery. The social commentary isn't as blatantly obvious as it was in Dead Rising 4. The location, don't make it as big as Dead Rising 3 or 4. Make it more like 2. bring back a mall. Maybe the whole thing can be about, like, they built a mall over the remains of Santa Cabeza, which would just be, like, such a, like, a horrible thing that actually does have precedent in the real world of, like, horrible, like, Central American massacres going on in, like, Spanish countries where malls have just been built over the sites of these horrible events. So I think that could be an interesting little thing. Maybe gear it as the final game for people like me who do have a genuine, like, connection to these games and these stories. I love the Dead Rising stories, which is one of the many reasons why Dead Rising 4, you know, is such a failure, in my opinion. But that's my pitch. If I had to pitch one game to a company, it would be that, and it would be to Capcom. So I think that's a pretty good idea. I don't know how many people would be interested in that, but I think if I could just... If Jeff Bezos gave me, like, all of his money, I would put it all into making my Dead Rising game. And then I would distribute the wealth, because that's what you should do if you have that much money. So yeah, like I said, there's 2 ways, I guess technically 3 ways to end this demo. One is to just die. I assume if you started this at level 1, which is what the game would start at, you'd probably get rinsed pretty easily. You get murked by a couple zombies instantly, which is why they made you start at 10. Then is just leave the area. I'm right now going to go to the movie theater. At least I thought that's what I was going to do. Because I was going to just try and end it early. Or I think you wait until 7 o'clock, and then the demo just ends on its own. So those are the 3 ways. Basically, any exit out of this area, you can go to the park, you can go to the movie theater, you can go to Entrance Plaza, you can go back into the warehouse. I will show each of the cutscenes that you get for exiting the game, one of which is actually of interest, because you shouldn't anyway see it in the main game. So yeah, that is the end of the demo and the end of my rambling. So the first cutscene that you get for ending it, this should just come naturally if you're not really wasting time, or I guess if you are wasting time, is just the zombie cutscene at 7 o'clock that you're going to get in the main game anyway. Which is still such a great image. These zombies are so spooky looking. Then you get just a little splash page here of some incentives to play the game. I like the picture of Frank in the car. It's so weird. And then you get this little image, which is just, hey, play the game, you'll see a crazy guy with a shopping cart. So if you go into the entrance plaza, you get another one of my favorite cutscenes of all time. So I would say maybe it's worth it to go out this way.
Looks like 72 yards. I can blow his head off clean from here. Can I take a shot, Dad?
Getting a headshot from here's no big deal, Jack. Think you can pull it off, Thomas?
But Daddy, he ain't no zombie. He's just a man.
Thomas!
That is just such an incredible line.
Survive. You know that.
Using a firearm for self-defense is our God-given right as Americans, Thomas.
Come on, Thomas, shoot. Shoot him.
Shoot him, Thomas!
Said shoot him. Shoot him, Thomas. Now! What are you waiting for? Do it!
So if you go into the demo and then immediately turn back around and go into the warehouse, you get the B cutscene, or I guess the Queen cutscene.
What in the hell is going
Going into the movie theater, you get the intro to a boss cutscene, which I think is kind of weird.
Now I shall return your tainted blood to the foul earth that has spawned you.
Anyone there?
So the most interesting one, the one that's most of note, is to go into Leisure Park and you will get the convicts cutscene. However, it's during the daytime, which you should never see. If you're doing the story, you'll never see this. You'll almost always see it at night or at dawn. Interestingly, though, this is the version of the cutscene that's used in the Wii version. I don't know why. Maybe this is like the earliest state of the cutscene that they had that they could use for that version. I don't know. But I think that's pretty interesting to actually get to see this cutscene during the day, which again, you really shouldn't be seeing. So that's it for the Dead Rising demo. I think it's a pretty cool little look. It's not really vastly different from the main, what was released. So, hope you enjoyed this little look, and I'll see you in the next spooky video.